This story begins with a dare.
I didn't know who he was and never heard of him.
60 years ago, Barbara Gray's friends convinced her to call royalty in his hotel room.
And I said, yeah, I want to talk to him. Put him on the phone.
Their conversation,
And we talked for about an hour and a half.
would lead to this.
Oh, that's the mystery kiss.
Critics call it one of the most iconic and erotic photographs in American history.
But at least he got a kiss of some kind.
A budding singer named Elvis Presley
Oh, yeah, he was ready. That's for sure.
touches tongues with the shapely 20-year-old known then as Bobby Owens.
It was about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Days after these photos were taken on June 30th, 1956,
Well, I said you was high class.
Elvis rockets to fame. Barbara fades into obscurity.
Right off the bat, he kept trying to embrace me and kiss me, and he kept telling me to kiss him, and I said no.
Her 15 minutes of fame will need to wait more than 5 decades.
When I look at them, I don't see me.
The seminal moment was captured in this dimly lit hallway at Richmond's Mosque Theater, where not much has changed.
And he was close enough to just lean forward with his tongue out. And that's how quick it happened.
These legendary images show young lovers locked in an embrace.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just laughed at it. I thought it was silly.
Truth is, Barbara and Elvis's relationship stretches back only a few hours. Remember that dare? Barbara calls Elvis, who is staying at Charleston's Francis Marion Hotel, ironically on King Street.
Operator answered, and I said, Elvis Presley's room, please.
A curious Elvis invites Barbara to his next concert in Virginia.
I just melted right there.
From her home in South Carolina, the 80-year-old recalls seeing the sultry singer for the first time at the Hotel Jefferson in Richmond.
Elvis turned around, and I almost fainted. He was absolutely gorgeous.
Barbara and Elvis flirt over lunch hours before his concert.
He just reached out and hugged me. And I didn't know what to say. I mean, it was like I was numb.
Elvis and Barbara pile into a taxi cab.
He played with me the whole way, and it's only, 3 blocks away?
At the Mosque Theater.
Then Elvis came out, and he took me out in the hallway.
Barbara says the king moves into canoodle.
I said, no, I'm not. And he said, oh, yes, you are.
These storied snapshots are the work of freelance photographer Al Wertheimer, hired by RCA Records.
I didn't even notice him, and neither did Elvis.
Following the concert, Presley invites Barbara to join him in New York City.
He was taking me to the train station with him.
Barbara turns down the offer and walks out on Elvis.
I told him I had a boyfriend. I never saw him again.
But that sizzling moment, the grainy kiss, frozen in black and white, tantalizes legions of fans.
Everybody wanted to know who that was. Nobody knew who that was.
Barbara knew she wanted to kiss and tell, but photographer Al Wertheimer rebuffed her.
He said, no, that it couldn't be me.
Over the years, countless women claimed to be the secret woman in Barbara's high heels that unforgettable day.
People always thought that it was a tall girl. Nobody realized that I was only 4'11".
It had remained a mystery, and Wertheimer liked it that way.
Harry Kolatz Jr.
It's a girl and a guy in a stairwell, and he happens to be Elvis Presley.
Senior writer for Richmond Magazine.
In terms of popular cultural history, it's a landmark photograph.
Kolatz finds it ironic that one of the most famous performances in Richmond unfolded off stage.
There was only one Elvis, and there was only one moment, and we got it.
Kolatz says the image is dripping with mystique.
When people see that photograph, I don't think they're thinking about her. They're thinking about, what if that was me?
Well, I just think it's funny.
Throughout the decades,
Very popular all over the world.
Barbara could not escape the smooch.
It's on everything. It's not just lunchboxes. It's watches and clocks.
Barbara never sought fame and fortune.
Oh, yeah. That one.
The happily married real estate manager just yearned for the recognition as the mystery woman.
He was just saying, I just want to hold you. I just want to kiss you. I just want to get to know you better.
In 2011, Barbara's veil of anonymity was lifted in a Vanity Fair article.
He was a wonderful boy.
Barbara reflects on her intimate moment with Elvis with a tinge of regret.
Yeah. And I wish he hadn't let me go.
Elvis, in her mind, will forever be 21.
I'm so sorry that he's gone, but I love where he went to. He's in heaven. Yep.
60 years ago, a 20-year-old accepted a dare.
It was a very comfortable day. It was like I knew him all my life.
All these years later, Barbara Gray relishes the day she was once the King's queen.
Oh, it was wonderful, and I'm sure that everybody, every girl in the world would like to have been me. Yep.
Under the hood
I love this. I live for this.
just happens to be Frank Battleson's happy place.
Right now, I'm living my dream. I'm working on good old American muscle cars.
The 61-year-old feels most comfortable, surrounded by curves and chrome.
This is the restoration world from 1968, 69, and 70s.
Inside his 2 garages in Chesterfield, far from fast and furious, with surgeon-like precision, Frank restores classic rides from another era.
This right here is a 1969 Dodge Super Bee.
Frank's work
The joy, the charm of going back.
represents a nod to nostalgia.
No cell phones, no games, no nothing like that. It was cars and girls. This was the very first time that I ever drag raced at Richmond Dragway.
In this shop, the past is very much present,
These are what we call survivors.
but one corroding clunker screams for attention. See it sitting right there in the corner.
I never thought that I would get it.
You'll find Frank's pride and joy,
This is a 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air.
a prized possession that looks better suited for a date with the junkyard.
You could probably say it's in poor condition. Windows are broken. It doesn't run.
But from bumper to bumper, Frank sees nothing but beauty in this jalopy with a story.
It appears as though something has happened in the motorcade route. Something, I repeat, has happened in the motorcade route. There's numerous people running up the hill.
A dark history you won't find on the car's registration or title.
Rushing up the hill at this time. Stand by just a moment, please.
I regard this as valuable as anything else that I own and as valuable as anything else that's in this shop.
This 61-year-old station wagon was once owned by Ruth Payne.
A lot of people may recognize that name if they know anything about the Kennedy assassination.
Ruth Payne befriended Lee Harvey Oswald and his wife Marina.
It's the only known, verified vehicle that we know of that Lee Harvey Oswald ever drove.
In the weeks leading up to President Kennedy's death, this car would carry Oswald's mysterious duffel bags.
Mainly, the rifle that killed President Kennedy was transported in this vehicle on several occasions.
As a highly respected JFK assassination expert,
I've been studying it for well over 38 years.
Frank jumped at the chance, spending north of $10,000 to own one of the last cars linked to that fateful day in November of 1963.
To think that Lee Harvey Oswald sat right here where I'm sitting and put his hands on this steering wheel, turned that ignition, used this selector, and drove this car.
Not long after the assassination, Ruth Payne sold her Bel Air to the next-door neighbor.
She did indicate that this car held some bad feelings for her.
There it sat for more than 50 years, deteriorating, until it went on the auction block in 2015.
It's in poor condition, but we're lucky that it still exists.
Frank says not everyone holds the aging vehicle in such high regard.
There has been several people that have stopped by to look at this and didn't want to get any closer than about 2 feet.
While refurbishing vehicles is his specialty, Frank is leaving this artifact as is.
Motorcade now, perhaps 2 or 3 blocks ahead of me.
I personally could never be talked into restoring this car. That to me would ruin what I call the DNA of the car.
A metal thread woven into the fabric of American history.
When you start getting your mind around everything that happened and what Lee Harvey Oswald did, it certainly gets you thinking.
Okay. Restoring hot rods, preserving the past. It's what fuels his inner drive.
It brings me personally closer to it.
For Frank Battleson, this relic is the one that stands out among the rust.
In the meantime, I'm just sitting here quiet with it, and it's my little piece of history.
Something has happened in the motorcade route. Something, I repeat, has happened in the motorcade route.
I know I've had a lot of good fortune. This is it.
Dr. Bruce Heilman's life reads like a novel.
Facing fearful odds.
From growing up dirt poor on a farm in Kentucky.
And that's the strip that I crashed on right there.
And fighting with the Marines in the South Pacific during World War II.
We had suicide planes coming in.
He even led one of the top universities in the nation. Just days away from his 90th birthday, you may think Dr. Heilman would be content on looking back. But the chancellor of U of R is always moving ahead in high gear.
I am by nature an independent soul.
You see, Heilman's most interesting chapter unfolds on the open roads.
It's like a bird flying through the air. I like to do it. And to see what this one is, maybe I'll know it better.
While most men his age choose a golf cart or scooter, Dr. Heilman prefers a helmet and hog.
Not everybody rides a motorcycle. If they did, I probably wouldn't want to.
Yes, the man who should be slowing down is actually revving up.
I want always to be on the cutting edge of something, not passively letting life go by.
It's quite a sight seeing a man soon to be 9 decades old straddling his Harley. And we're not talking short rides through the neighborhood.
7,000 roughly. Got a whole tape, I'm sure, of patriotic songs.
Oh no, Heilman goes big, as in cross country.
That's a lot of sitting on that saddle.
Heilman is wrapping up a month-long coast-to-coast adventure by himself.
Life either has purpose or it has nothing.
This was no pleasure cruise. Heilman's goal, spread word about the Spirit of 45, a World War II veterans group.
It meant something that will be a lifetime memory of an exceptional experience.
Heilman also shed tears along his journey with Gold Star families who lost so much.
We all forget if we're not reminded. So in a sense, I did my ride as a reminder.
The graying veteran returned home to a hero's welcome at the Virginia War Memorial.
Thank you so much.
Really good meeting you.
For being here. Good to meet you.
Friends and fellow Marines
You're the best looking crowd in the whole crowd here.
wanted to witness history.
He has such great knowledge and energy and experience, and no one can surpass.
How you doing there, Navy? Good to see you.
Heilman is serving as an inspiration to the old
They must think this is a pretty good picture, mustn't they?
Yes, sir.
and young.
It sends a message to us that, you know, these values are important, that they need to not be taken for granted. People die for us.
The Good Doctor's two-wheeled trip isn't his swan song. Not by a long shot.
It's satisfying, surely. It's fulfilling, surely. I probably was 19 there.
Heilman says the next chapter of his autobiography just might be his most memorable.
Well, it says to me, if I can do this at 90, why am I worried about 95 and 100? I may get there yet.